Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurie Wheeler with Wellness Within and Spirit Adventure Tours. And today we're talking about tapping into your superpowers. I've worked in alchemical transformation and I'm here to transmit knowledge and healing and to transmute into authentic self through homeopathy, soul regression, light language, and bringing galactic codes to awaken biological and spiritual DNA. Today, I have as my co host Joshua Swords, and he is from Wales. And he is an experienced facilitator of spiritual journeys, guided breath work, and I'm going to add very connected to Mother Earth as I've experienced through speaking with him. He brings incredible insights to guide and nourish one on their path, and he will be guiding us on this trip that we are doing to Sacred Avalon and Wales, and he'll be guiding us through Wales. So, welcome, Josh, and thank you so much for being here. It is super great to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laurie. It's an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I mean, I'm been up in Wales now for the last few years. I was actually in Avalon in Glastonbury prior to moving up here. So yeah, there's a really beautiful connection between the two places, and I'm really looking forward to welcoming the group and the people that come via you to this very magical, enchanted land.
Yes, it is. It definitely is, and it's really doing its thing, opening up and connecting with people through many different ways. And so today we're going to talk about the mystical legends, which Glastonbury very much is intriguing and it's desirable and it speaks to us. And it's helping us hear and know our truth through many different ways. Um, so there's so many different topics, and it's kind of hard to separate them all because they all intersect. That's the thing. And so when I was sitting writing some notes and thinking about what I wanted to say or we want to talk about today, one just kept, interconnecting with the other. And so we may kind of just get all over the place with it. But one thing I do want to talk about today, I just want to mention that I've been channeling Yeshua since I was 5 years old, and I've had this super close connection with him. And so this time in Glastonbury, when we were there during 2023, it really opened my eyes a lot, and it began to connect more of the pieces together. And I had amazing experiences there. Um, but also I think that sometimes you really have to be in a place and not just channeling or being guided, but to really experience what is going on there. It brings you, it's like a portal, a timeline that you enter into. And if anybody's ever been in, seminars and such, where you feel like you enter into a bubble and you're there and you're only just there, well, being in Glastonbury is very much this feeling as well, like you're just there and you're nowhere else. You're in this timeline of what it has to share with you.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I know for myself, I had a few impactful journeys while I was there, and it started with the Arthurians many years ago, actually guiding me. And I've had conversations with them. But I had very specifically, and this is what really started it off for me, a visitation from Horus, who is the son of Isis and Osiris. And he's about protection, prosperity, power, and healing. And he brought me a chalice. And, I wasn't at all thinking about it. It wasn't in my scope of vision or anything like that at the time. And it was a gold chalice, and it was beaded with precious stones around it. And I looked inside of it, and I noticed there was blood in it. And I thought this was so strange. Again, I was not really aware or thinking, putting two and two together, because you're in a journey, your mind is not really thinking. And so when I looked in it, and he said to me, drink the blood of the ancestors, and I will then remember. And that has continued to open up for me in so many avenues, and one of them being Glastonbury, because it has that connection to Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and those that have come even along with that have preserved the information. It's in the land, what has happened. You'll be in a timeline of that. And then there's so much more beyond that that centers around so much of the time that we're in right now and what we're exploring. So I don't know, do you have anything to maybe share about that, where we can go from there?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like you said there, that for me, the land of Glastonbury has been one of the biggest initiators in my life. The ramifications that I'm still moving through now, it's opened up so much, and a lot of people on the groups that I've been a part of, guiding there, have had these similar experiences. So there's something in the land there, the people that have been there, the advanced beings that have left their mark on the land there, the prayers that are woven into the land, and just also being the heart chakra of the earth, having this energy and the intersection of so many ley lines. It's hard to know. There's just so much happening at Glastonbury, energetically, within the earth, in the unseen realms, that to go there and to pilgrimage there, each soul, each person will have their own experience of what that is. But going back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation, it's a place of awakening, um, and that what your soul needs at this moment in time, Glastonbury and the land there can very much accelerate that process and bring that inner and outer transformation to our lives. So yeah, it's a uniquely special place.
It is. It is unique in that way. So I have an understanding that it's a massive stargate that's open in Glastonbury and the areas surrounding it, and it's part of the what we'll call the triune, which is Mount Shasta, Glastonbury, and then Egypt. And these are very active right now for helping us ascend and helping us remember. And I really believe that it has much to do with remembering who we truly are individually, but as a collective also, and bringing about our understanding of who we are in the divine light. Um,
Yeah,
so, yeah, so I just wanted one of the aspects is people have searched in that area of Glastonbury and surrounding for the Holy Grail. And so there's a lot of what we'll say legend around it because I don't know if anybody really knows the exact truth of what is, but maybe it's about revealing the exact truth for each individual person that goes there, what that Holy Grail is. Like myself, when I had that journey and Horace showed up. And I'll just mention what the Holy Grail is because there may be many people that are not familiar until it's time for you to know. You may just not really know. So this is a chalice that was used by Yeshua at the Last Supper. I mean, just even the thought of something that he used or a tool that was a part of his life and what he did while he was here on earth. I get chills, unbelievable throughout my whole system. But it was speculated that it contained wine. But along with that, now there is talk or understanding that what was in the wine. So maybe it wasn't just regular wine. Maybe there was also some type of elixir because Mary Magdalene was the carrier of many essences and oils and such, as she did when she anointed his feet with the alabaster jar and such. So, and with some of this elixir, it's understood possibly that it opened the 12 apostles to higher consciousness. So I think they're coming to understand maybe what this elixir had in it. And that's not my forte, I'm going to say, although my ears are open to it, but I don't have an ear up on that exactly. But I do understand that they are in wonderment of this now, and that later it contained Yeshua's blood and possibly the sweat while he was up on the cross. So then Joseph of Arimathea, who was his uncle and a very wealthy uncle, he it is understood that possibly he received the Grail from an apparition of Yeshua and brought it to Britain. And that's one legend or one understanding of it. But I think there are others that we could probably talk about as well. Um, there is thought about the Arthurian legend that introduces the idea that Joseph of Arimathea brought the Holy Grail with him and he buried it in a secret place, which is below the Tor. So there's a lot speculated that goes on below the Tor, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that. And Josh, certainly chime in at any moment and tell me what you know, what you've heard, what you've actually maybe received in being there for years. What would you like to say at this point about that before we go further?
Yeah, I think for me that there is definitely in my lived experience a connection with the land there in Chalice Well, with Yeshua, with Magdalene, with those energies and their prayers and maybe their footsteps on that land.
Mm.
I think that the idea of the blood of Christ, of Yeshua, being placed in the land there, that even the symbology of that alone may speak to many other things as well. But that there is something if you go there that you can tune into that, I think. So for me, that's very alive in the land there. And it's hard to convey into words the depth of what that actually means. But yeah, it's something that I think people, if you're feeling that calling to connect with those energies, it's a place that you'd have to visit.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think it really speaks to you. And I think there's a great happening right now that is connecting us to the Christ consciousness. That portal, that doorway, that information, that which I believe most all people carry in their DNA here that walk the earth are connected to in one form or fashion. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that there's this what's thought is the Holy Grail is buried in a secret place, which is said to be below the Tor. And this is the entrance to the underworld. Do you know anything about that? Or is that something that you believe as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I believe maybe the Holy Grail was buried in Chalice Hill, which is, as you say, it's adjacent to the Tor.
Hmm.
It's where the Red Spring, again, that symbology of the blood of Christ, meets the White Spring coming off the Tor, in that little valley between the two. Um, and yeah, there's definitely, oh, it's hard to comprehend into words. I can actually feel the energy of it as we connect to it. Um, but yeah, there's definitely something in the waters as well of that land, in that sacred land, um, that again people need to experience.
Yeah, and my understanding is that it really has to do with the blood of Christ and also Mary Magdalene and the union of this.
Mm.
So this is This is about the divine union of the divine feminine and masculine, and what it specifically speaks is so personal for each individual, what they're going to receive, what that holds for you as an individual. Um,
Mm,
and I've had, oh my gosh, I mean, numerous past life regressions that I've done for people, held space for people for around this divine union as well. What is this for each individual, whether they be male or female? Because we hold both within us. And so what does it have that it needs to convey for you for your life at this time? Because we've been misconstrued by the concept of power in our world. It's a controlling power, which is very much the negative masculine, and coming more into the divine masculine, and then the divine feminine rising through, and especially through Mary Magdalene, where she was thought of as a prostitute, and so disregarded by those in power at that time, and where her her divinity has come through, where her in equal union with both she and Yeshua, as becoming as powerful. And actually, my understanding is that she went through the the mystery school in Egypt. She was a part of Isis's school, and she was taught all of what was needed for the next stage of life, of what she was going to be holding, going through, doing, what her mission it was and still is. And thereafter, when she left after the crucifixion, and came um, into Europe after fleeing, after the crucifixion. So, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that. But also, my understanding is that Joseph of Arimathea actually had come to Britain prior when Jesus was young. He had brought him, and then he brought him again through the Holy Grail thereafter, after his death. And my understanding too, well, do you know the story behind that? I'm going to look to you, Josh, because,
yeah, sure. So
I know
yeah,
you.
my understanding, my studies, my reading kind of suggests that, yeah, like you mentioned, Joseph Arimathea was a very wealthy merchant and bought and sold and traded goods, in particular like heavy metals and things. So it's said that Joseph of Arimathea would come over to Cornwall and to England because obviously the tin mines and the copper and things like this, and that he brought a young Yeshua across. And they may have even there's suggestions that Yeshua might have even studied with the Druids and the indigenous priests of this land at that time, and learned some of that native technology, information, study. And it's also said that when Christ was crucified and Joseph of Arimathea brought the chalice back to this land, that the first church in Britain was actually built in Glastonbury, um, 2000 years ago. So there is this like continual journey between the two places over time. Again, suggesting to the significance as well of that particular place to build that church upon, that temple. So yeah, there's a lot of connections there and a lot of stories and a lot of different timelines and different mythology sort of interweaving. So super interesting.
It is, it is. There's a lot of coded information that's held in Europe. So when we were there in 23, we did spend about 5, 6 days over in Glastonbury, Tintagel, and such. And then we went over to follow the Magdalene footpath in south of France. And there you can see a lot of the codes held within the churches, the information that is held there, the lore that doesn't seem to ever lose its power over all this time.
Mm.
Um, and that actually, we were talking about the church, and that this church that was carried through from Yeshua was in honor of his wife, Mary, because she was the one who was going to continue on and really preach the real word.
Mm.
And those that were going to hold it sacred and continue it. And therefore, this is why the lore is still in existence, and carries and I get goosebumps as I say it, why it's still so very predominant and strong there, um, because because of its magnification. And right now, how much it is speaking to those that are, open and attuned to it. So, um,
Yeah. I think also just for me, it's really important. One of Christ's teachings, Yeshua's teachings, um, that was found in the Essene Gospel of Peace, the things that were removed from the kind of everyday understandings, the teachings of Christ, that he was telling a parable around that the true law is not in scripture, it's not in words written in a book, but it's in nature, it's in the land, it's in the stars. And I think that's why this holy law has surpassed time and is eternal, because it is in the land and it's in the waters and it's in the prayers of these people in the land, so that in itself is there to awaken us if we pilgrimage, if we go, if we connect. Um, yeah, I think that's it's very special.
yes, and therefore being in a place that carries such a high resonance, that opens a person to that, because you are literally there where that energy is held. I know when we were in Egypt last year, one of the aspects that I heard when putting my hands on top of the hieroglyphs and such was, it's not so much in the hieroglyph or in the written. It's not usually in the written. It's in the building, the stone, the structure, the like you say, nature. The energy is there, the information is there, the truth is there. So, um, and we have also the ley lines that exist in the Glastonbury all the way. I think it goes. Where does it go from
Yeah,
east to west? Does it go? I could be having it wrong, but from east to
yeah, well, the Michael ley line runs, from St Michael's Mount all the way up to Bury St Edmunds across the whole of the UK, pretty much and beyond. And then the Mary ley line kind of snakes through that all the way up as well. So they're intersecting all the way at
yeah.
very specific sacred sites. Obviously, Glastonbury, actually in Chalice Well, in the Abbey, they intersect there. So again, talking back to that divine union of the masculine and feminine earth energies
Mm.
intersecting around sacred water, like the information in that water, and yeah, very, very high vibrational places.
Yes, you can feel it. A lot of people have done dowsing and different things in that area that really, you can see the difference literally when you're working with it. You can see the energy, you can feel the energy, um, and it does. It speaks to you in all of nature. That's there for sure. It's held there. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so and and I just want to bring about moving on to a little bit about Merlin as well, because Merlin has a lot to do with the area, right? I mean, it's where he was. And I might just even say, when we think of Merlin, we think of him as just one uh person, one being, and having to do with King Arthur, but he's bigger than that. Would you say? What do you have anything to share about Merlin? And then I can share a little bit. I don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. I think Merlin as an energy is beyond the Arthurian mythology. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
a big part of that, which is interwoven into the land here as well, up in Wales, so strongly. But yeah, for me, it's a much bigger archetypal energy that kind of spans beyond, the mythology around him being connected with King Arthur for sure.
Yeah, and there's I don't know whether this is real or not, but it's talked about that he there are two caverns that run under the Tor, which also is a part of the ley line and such, and that in these caverns, my understanding or the lore goes that it's possible that that's where Merlin was sort of finished out his life in that timeline, and that there's also what's thought to be a sleeping dragon below there. Now, what's your thought on that, Josh?
Yeah, I resonate with both of those things. I think that underneath the Tor, obviously in local lore and tradition, it's the gateway to the underworld, gateway to the Fae. It's where King Arthur was taken to lie after being mortally wounded in battle. So
Hmm.
it makes sense that Merlin would be there as well. And yeah, there's a lot of dragon energy associated with the Tor, with the ley lines. You know, they were often referred to as the serpent lines,
Hmm.
dragon lines back, before the serpent was sort of demonized. But yeah, I think 100% there's a very strong connection to dragon energy. There are many guardian dragons at the tour for sure.
Hmm.
Um, and again, they're there, they're waiting. I mean, even Archangel Michael, that's associated with the tour, is associated with the sun, is associated with the dragon. So yeah, it's a super powerful interconnection of all those things.
Yeah, it is. Just to stand up on the top of that hill, well, to walk up the hill, it's quite a hill. But when you get up there, it's super breathtaking. I mean, just stand up there, you're in awe of the whole experience and the energy that is there. And yeah, it's just something that one really has to experience to take that in and see what that does within the self. Um, yeah, there's like we're saying, there's a lot of energy there. And with Merlin, actually, Josh, do you know the story prior to Merlin becoming like when he was married, and I think he had a child as well, if I'm not mistaken. And do you know the story behind that? I'm trying to recall it.
I don't know. I do know of it. I don't know it too well that I would feel to like recall it.
Comfortable about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to do with he lost his wife and child, and I'm just trying to remember how that happened. I think they were killed, and it had something to do with him. And oh gosh, my memory. But after that, I think he was so riddled with guilt that he just left. He left his entire world, his entire life, and he went into the woods, into the forest, and he kind of became a hermit for years so that he could, not so that, but that he was dealing with his guilt. And then after that, I think is when he came more into his own power and such. And I'm hoping I'm doing the story justice at this point. I'd have to pull my paperwork out on it. But yeah, it's so Merlin, or one of the aspects of Merlin, because he's more of a heritage that goes back multi generations. He's more of an aspect that embodies a person that helped King Arthur and such, but he has helped others as well. And although his body has his body died, he still inhabits. And so it's something also that I think is a very powerful force that exists there in that region and accessing, and we will access Merlin. We will do a journey to connect with him, to hear his wisdom. He is a great wizard that carries quite a powerful connection and wisdom, and how he can help us. We will invoke his help to aid all of us to bring about the wisdom that we might each individually be looking for that he can provide. So I think when we were in Tintagel, which is the west coast of England, all the way on the very edge, because I remember standing where the King Arthur's castle was, or the ruins of it. You are looking right over the edge of the ocean standing there. But it is so beautiful, and they have this beautiful bridge that walks you across to that area. So you go down into Merlin's cave, which is underneath this area, and going in, we went deep in. So, everybody walks into a certain point, but then we went in deeper to do a journey. And we did a journey with the dragons in this area. And it was so palpable, their energy. You could literally feel them breathing on you. You could feel their scales. You just, the dripping of it, of their saliva. Just, and that doesn't sound very intriguing, but it was so powerful that for myself, I actually had a spontaneous past life come up for me, which blew me away. I was not expecting it at all. And it was about that time, when the knights were there, and I won't get into it, but wow, it really just it opened up a lot of things for me. And so, this is part of being in a place like this as well, where these spontaneous things happen, and this is part of going back, is just wanting other people to really have these most amazing experiences for themselves. So this is why we bring you this, to kind of tickle you, and maybe awaken that which is dormant for you, that can really provide some clues to who you are as a person, to your more of your authentic self as well. So yeah, it's just an amazing place, and the incredible forces that are there, they are really, like you said, Josh, they're held in the life that exists there, and they take you to places of heightened awareness, and
Mm.
that's amazing what you can experience. So I have some information about the Templars too, because the Templars were guardians of the secretive information and of the Church of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. And they were all, and I don't remember it off the top of my head. I'm not great with all those details, but they were eventually remaining there, those that were left, because they were killed in many battles. And then I think they really met their end of all of them. They were finished in France, but they're believed to hold information and something other than what was considered gold bullion, which they also were holding. And they kept these secrets. And there was something about these particular secrets that were so fantastic that not even torture could bring it from them. They would not share it. And so the Templars protected the secrets of Yeshua and the truth of the real teachings of Yeshua and the church. And this it also the speculation is around Christos oil, and the understanding that this oil or substance um, is talked about in the Hebrew study. It's told that when Adam was nearing the end of his life, he sent Seth back into the Garden of Eden to fetch the oil of mercy that God had promised mankind. And this oil, or this particular substance, was in the possession of the angel who guarded the gate to Eden. And one of the most revered of Jesus's sayings is, I am the light of the world. And the word world actually comes from the word whirl, like to whirl around, to turn as a wheel. And I started thinking about that. There's so much around the oil and such. Uh, that is starting to kind of come up around this. And I want to bring more information about it, but I'm in the midst of reading a book that talks about the codes and such. And so I'll have more information about that. Um, but this concept of the whirl, I think about the whirl or a wheel. I think about the circle of life, the spiral. When I was in Mexico, well, we all know what well, maybe we don't, the spiral of what that really is. But I was up in Mexico, outside of Guanajuato, which is central Mexico, many years ago. And there's this place that you have to walk quite up to the top of. Um, Huge rock formations with all of these swirls, these spirals. And somebody asked me, what do those spirals mean? And because I work in psychometry, I put my hand on it and I very distinctly heard it's the story of life. And when you really think about this, you think about the universe and how it swirls around. I just begin to think about this too, when he talks about, I am the light of the world meaning whirl. And I just think, yeah, the light of life, the light of the spiral, the story. And so I don't know, my mind just goes off in tangents and can start to think about all kinds of things. But I think about it as being, especially in this time that we're in right now, um, in the spring is kind of waking up out of its dormancy. And I think about it being like a time of rebirth and a reclaiming of who we are. It's a time of celebration. The crucifixion, the Catholics think of it this way, but I think of it too. The crucifixion, we get all bogged down, or many do, in that thought like, oh, it's death, and then he rises. Yes, he rises. We're celebrating this because in this resurrection, it's not about really his crucifixion being a death, but it's really about the increase and coming into power, because he did just that. He came into his power in the light. He was the light, and he was actually asked not to be touched for a certain amount of time because he was still coming into that light. And I think of ourselves as well coming into the light. um, I think about like, what is that like, that rising into our power? I think about the phoenix rising as well, coming out of the ashes and coming in. It symbolizes, a rebirth, a renewal, um, overcoming adversity. And I laugh because there's a lot of adversity right now. There's a lot of challenges, but I know from what I hear in my channeling, it's not so much the adversity, it's what you do while you're in it. What does it do for you? And when you think about that, coming out into that rebirth and that renewal, um, it's not something that seems so horrible. It was, that potential of what it holds for us as well, because if we're all one, we are a part of, and we too must go through this just as he did. But what's through it? What's in that we've got to keep our focus on. Um, yeah,
Mm.
so this is, the season right now for us to really be thinking and holding that space. What were you going to say, Josh?
Yeah, no, I think that you said that really beautifully, and just that a lot of these places that you'll be journeying to on this trip, because they hold that force, that unseen force of something that is of higher vibration, they really act as a mirror for what is already within us, what may be dormant, what we need to remember, what we need to activate in this life. And these places they were held sacred for a reason. King Arthur had his castle there for a reason. Merlin went to the tour for a reason, that because there's something there that can be worked with, utilized in right reciprocity with, to
Mhm.
awaken us. And it's beyond what our logical cognitive mind can imagine. But like you were saying, moving towards light, what does that mean? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What is the experience of moving towards light? um, and coming out of the density of, you know, what's going on in the world and this reality and what we're moving through. These places hold keys for that, for
Mm.
sure.
Oh, they do. They absolutely do.
Mm.
Um, So, yes, coming into the light, coming into knowing ourselves, our divine self. And I often think, or I'll share with people about superpower. And I like to think about our gifts and capabilities each person holds. What is, what is our superpower individually, because that's a part of coming into the divine. It's a part of coming into why we're here on earth at this moment. Each person has chosen this particular time in timeline or history, we'll say, um, because we hold capabilities. So what are our superpowers to be uncovered? They're innate, they're cultivated capabilities, their heightened intuition, ability to sense energies or vibrations, our special connection to nature. Oh my gosh, it just could go on and on. Empathy, it's just a deeper connection to the aspect of ourself. Or maybe it hasn't been uncovered completely. I hear this all the time, people wanting to know why they're here. What is their superpower? Um,
Yeah.
and knowing yourself better, and I'm going to say, who brings it better, knowing your superpower, are dragons help us understand that, and there's so much to be learned about dragons that we won't learn it all here. You won't learn it all in one happening, because it's an unfolding. It's like a relationship with a being that is always with you, and guarding, protecting, bringing about different aspects. And what are those aspects? They might be about self-awareness, connection, clairvoyance, insights, such. But we can draw from them, and it has also a lot to do with the kind of dragon that specifically has chosen to be with you. What is their particular, what we'll say, superpowers? So um, what are they? And this is why knowing the dragon that is represented with you, what that has to do with you. And so, what abilities, what enhancements represents a type of transmutation and alchemy. Um, we think of dragons as fire breathing, although I don't believe all of them breathe fire, but I know there are a certain grouping that do. And if you know anything about fire, fire was the first element. It is also about rebirth and destruction, because you need both to create. So it's all about creation. And so, I mean, we could just go on and on about that, but they're protectors, and they support us in an open heart. And you when you work with the dragons, you can talk to them like they're real, like they're connected to you, and they bring a high frequency. These cosmic dragons that are coming in now, especially, they're pouring in to assist us. We need a lot of assistance right now, as there are some dark forces that are very strong right now, and so shifting the tides, so to speak. And
Mm.
uh, they can manifest as an enhanced strength, durability, the ability to breathe fire, and in that whole concept creation. They can manipulate the elements, and they can even shapeshift. So they hold spiritual powers, and they're great teachers. Uh, I had a special happening, and I'd like to share it, but be my guest if you've got anything to add about dragons, as I'm sure you have met some while you're there.
Yeah, dragons have been coming through for a while, especially since being in Glastonbury and coming up to Wales. But it's like it's like any relationship that, and I guess it's a law of the universe that we
Mm.
have to ask to work with, to connect with, like, give our love, give our respect to open up that relationship and that channel. And then, like you said, there's so many layers to those channels that, dragons are so ancient and they come from so many different places in the cosmos that
Yeah.
there's probably infinite technology there to access if we ask and if we build that relationship. Yeah, that's all I would add to the dragon piece.
There's a lot that can be added, but I think what's special is to first find out what dragon is with a person. But dragons are, they're here to teach. That is, they really are here to be teachers on transformation. And but not only that, they teach responsibility for your soul and how to live your life, or how to help you live your life, to understand your life better. Um, and I'll just share a little quick story. So, I have four children. My oldest son, when he was 13, which is many years now gone by, he wanted a wolf. And I said to him, well, that's probably not possible in our family situation. Not best to have a wolf. But so I went down to the rescue. A place where they had dogs. And I thought, well, maybe it's time to get a dog in the family, right? So I walked down the aisle with all the cages and such, and all the dogs are barking and that. But there was one cage that a dog just sat there, and it was like very, I mean, regal, majestic. It just sat there looking through one eye, because even dragons, they look on both sides like many, animals, lizards and such. They can see you. They can see a great periphery because their eyes are split, right? So she's looking at me with one eye, and I thought, I knew right away, this was the dog for us, right? So took her home with us. And long story short, she was with us. Oh gosh, well, she was a rescue dog. Maybe she was about 4 years old when we got her. Somebody threw her out of a car on the highway. So lucky for us, we got her, and she was the best dog. I still think about her. I love this dog. One of my closest beings that's ever been close to me. And she's so close to me. So, and I'll tell you why, because when she was getting ready to pass, and I knew it was her time, she had been with us probably about 11 years now by this time. She was part collie and part German Shepherd, and a beautiful animal. I had gotten another little puppy, and I knew she was getting ready to pass. And so I said to her, could you please speak to the puppy and tell the puppy that it's time for you to go? Because the puppy thought of her uh, like a mother or a grandmother. And so I went into the unseen realm so that I could see and be a part of that happening. And when I did, I saw this dog who she really was. And I mean, like, I could break up over it because it's so close to my heart. But she was this magnificent dragon. And I did not know that all the years that she was with us. And and she told me she would come back, that there would be a time where another would come. But she's always with me. And so I always have the greatest regard for dragons because I lived with one for so long, tangibly, but in the unseen realm as well. And that's where my beginning of really being drawn to dragons happened. And now I have them all over the house. They're everywhere, um, because they're a great connection for us. And to be very personal with your dragon is it's a great honor, I have to say, to be connected to your dragon. So I hope that will inspire others to want to know who their dragon is. But there's a lot about dragons, and I could go into, all about, them and what they are, but, maybe it's just time to really just get introduced to your inner dragon. We're going to do a little dragon meditation here. And Josh, if you'd like to, go into that quiet place and connect with yours, I'm going to walk us through this dragon meditation. So let me pull up my nope, that's not it. Hang on. It's around here somewhere. There we go. Okay. Whoops. All right. So yeah, because just walking it through, I've got hundreds of meditations and I don't remember them all out of my brain. But all right. So we're going to do activate the power that lies within you and is connected to you and connecting you to your dragon. So I'd like you all to just take a deep breath and then just release. And take another deep breath in and release. And as you breathe this way, just let your conscience know that you will be traveling this way during this time. So let yourself know that you will be meeting someone special. And as you breathe, becoming more relaxed with each breath, just take notice of each part of your body, your feet, your legs, your torso, your arms, and into your head. And as you do, you become more relaxed with each breath that you breathe in, and you are aware that you are becoming more relaxed. You feel it. And I want you to imagine roots now forming from your feet, traveling down through Mother Earth, through the many layers of soil to the center and the core of the earth. Now wrap your roots around the core, knowing that you are deeply rooted to Mother Earth. And as you do this, start bringing up the light of protection from the core, up through the roots, up, 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 up to your feet. And when this light reaches your feet, it is warm, it's inviting and protective. Bring it up from your feet and now into your knees, feeling relaxed with each breath, feeling warm as it blankets you with protection. Up through your body with each deep breath, reaching your hands and your neck, and finally your head, surrounding you with bright, warm, protective light. Breathe in and exhale out. And I'd like for you to look inside yourself and bring up the image of the most favorite sacred place you most visit while meditating. Your safe space outside, but inside your mind. And when you arrive, you notice that the 4 elements inhabit this place. There is a slight wind blowing, and you can feel it in your hair and on your face. There is a fire burning in a pit off to the side, and it is warm and inviting. And there are several different plants growing everywhere now, which bring bright colors and beauty. And there's a small pond that invites the ear to listen to its meandering trickle. And as you make your way closer, you notice a bench. It's waiting for you to take a seat. And as you sit, you enjoy the scenery, the peace, and the quiet. And you know you are safe from anything, and you are protected here. You have no fear because it does not exist in your space. You are here to meet your dragon. And as you sit quietly, patiently, you wait. And then, when you start to hear a rustle, a sound, but you simply wait comfortably on your bench. You move your head to see where the noise is coming from. Is it from the pond? Is it from the sky? Is it coming from the fire? Or possibly the trees and the plants? You sit staring and awaiting as the dragon that approaches comes closer, knowing you are perfectly safe and protected with no fear. It comes closer, and you start to notice its size. You start to see its color. And now take notice. Does it have scales or fur or feathers? Does it have a beak or a snout? And as it comes a little closer, you notice that this wondrous creature can understand your thinking through telepathy. Now I want you to take just a moment to ask a question. Find out if it's male or female or otherwise, or any other question that you might want to ask respectfully. Take your time, feeling safe and secure with no fear. I'll give you a moment. It is time now to say goodbye to your dragon. So please take the time to thank this creature before you and bow respectfully as you stand. The creature will either turn and go back where it came from, or it will choose to walk with you as this decision is made. You start to come back to this dimension by wiggling your feet and your toes and your fingers, and bring your attention to your body. And just finally, when you're ready and feeling back in your body, feeling present, just feeling grateful and empowered with your dragon by your side. Great. Well, welcome back. And hopefully that was an experience that you got to meet your dragon. And Josh, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, I thank you for sharing your story before about your dog. That really is similar to my story with my dragon.
Oh,
So
well, would you share a minute with us what your story is?
yeah, I can do. I guess without going into the depth and the detail of it, that the dragon companion that came to me was through a dog as well. And one of the kind of the medicine of this being almost is like a soul companion, almost
Mm,
like a being that has journeyed with me through many different lives, and that there's something in that relationship that teaches us about love
mm,
and about the depth of love across, a bigger expansiveness of love than what we may experience as a human, if that makes
mm,
sense,
mhm.
beyond the human capacity. So for me, they're divine companions that if we, that are there, that are always there, that have journeyed with us. Um, yeah, very blessed.
Yes, they are. And we are all blessed when we have that realization of who the dragon is when you build this intimate relationship with your dragon. They're always with you. They stay with you. That energy just stays with you. It's a beautiful energy. So, yeah, thank you for sharing your story. So, before we end, I just want to take a few moments to talk about the trip we're going on because after we have spent some time just kind of touching the tip of the iceberg of a few things that may happen while we're in this beautiful, beautiful Sacred Avalon in Britain. And we'll be going to Glastonbury, and some of the different highlights in Glastonbury have to do with the chakras. And then we will be going over to Tintagel and experiencing what is happening there and the sweet little town that Tintagel is, connecting through Merlin's cave. We'll be going to the Avebury stones, which is also serpent stones. And there's a few other highlights on the website as well. And then we're going to cross over into Wales. And why don't you tell us a little bit about where we're going and some of the magic that will occur there as well?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing to mention is that Wales and Glastonbury to Tintagel, there's a very deep connection across the mythology. So a lot of the same myths and legends told, and they're often seen as the gateway to the realm of the Fae, of King Arthur, his knights, the Round Table. That it's
Mm,
all this cross connection. Like I mentioned, that King Arthur died in Wales or was wounded in Wales and got brought back to Glastonbury to die. So there's this beautiful connection that you can feel in the land and in the energies here. Um, but yeah, we're going to be going to some very special places. I think you're going to be staying on Anglesey, which
mhm,
was the spiritual homeland of the Druids, of the indigenous priests of this land for a very long time before the Romans and the church got involved. So there's a beautiful burial chamber we're going to be going to there, Bryn Celyn D,
mhm,
which is 4,500 to 5,000 years old. So it's a place where they used to bury the ancestors, the kings, the revered people of the time, and just the depth of connection to the humans that were alive on that land then spiritually is very powerful there.
mm,
Um, we're also going to be going to Dinas Emrys, which is again very connected to Merlin.
mm,
I won't go into too much of the story around it, the myth around it now, but that Merlin, when he was a young boy, prophesied um, about again the dragons, the connection to dragons at this powerful ancient volcano, actually. That again the Druids worked with for magic, and You know, the actual red dragon on the Welsh flag is associated with this place. It's a very special place surrounded by beautiful oak trees, waterfalls. Like it's magical. It's so stunning. Um, and yeah, we're gonna be going to a few other amazing spots as well. The Fairy Glen, Elemental Magical Gorge, Aber Falls, the Elven Kingdom, the land of the old Welsh princes. So yeah, I think it'll be a beautiful end to your trip with a lot of magic, a lot
Mm,
of depth. Um, this land here used to be under the sea, and a very long time ago it erupted. It's all volcanic, mountainous land.
mm,
So it has a very, you know, deep, ancient connection to the Mother Earth
mm,
in the land here.
mm.
Uh, so yeah, exciting.
And we're so happy to have you on this trip. We are really privileged to have you and your wealth of knowledge and experience. So I thank you for that and for coming along with us. Um, this land, I mean, when I just look at pictures, so I've never been to Wales, uh, but I have been in England, and I can just say the land it's spectacular. It really is. It's so beautiful, the countryside, and to just be a part of it. If you are a person that loves nature and you like to hike and that, this is for you. I mean, wow, I can't do it justice with my words. It's something to be really experienced. It is magnificent, truly. So come on along with us. We have a couple spots available still, although we're nearing the end of registration and closing those doors. So it is July 7th through 16, and you can find it on my website, which is below, but it's wellnesswithin.net/tours. So you can find the itinerary registration there and some information, more information about it. So, well, this has been really interesting and I love spending time with you, Josh, and I look forward to spending more time and just what's going to really open for us on this trip. But it's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I know it's evening there, so I hope you have a good evening. And again, thank you for spending time with us today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's really beautiful to be invited and to share these very special sacred places that I feel connected to. It's an honor, and whoever comes along or whoever has that calling to join this journey, it's for a reason.
Mm,
Um, we're in a very strong time right now, and you know, talking about superpowers, these places are the pinnacle for unlocking and connecting to your soul's essence and magic. So yeah, it's exciting.
oh, well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you soon, hopefully. All right. Thank you.